Good morning, Sharks. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We have Eric and Van Peebles here. 3 people. Early bird gets the worm. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's see. How do I get Van Peebles on here? Tricky. That's okay. Hope everyone is having a great morning. It is Monday, bright and early. Today, we're going to be discussing combating 3 bets in cash games. First things first, what do your opponents do incorrectly? Always the first thing you want to be asking yourself because, well, most people don't 3-bet with garbage. They 3-bet only with the nuts. If they 3-bet only with the nuts, your life is easy. You take your cards, take them right here, you look at your cards, take them, and you deposit them into the muck. Easy game. Before we get started, why don't I give all of you 3 free days of poker coaching premium? You want 3 free days of poker coaching premium if you're not a premium member already? Head over to pokercoaching.com/free pass. Right now, we'll give you 3 free days for fun, just for being here, showing up on time, doing the work, putting in the effort. 3 free days for you. First things first, let's define what we will be discussing. We'll be discussing 100 big blind deep cash games. These are the tools at pokercoaching.com. In the premium section, in the tools section, you have full access to all of this now if you just go to pokercoaching.com/free pass for the next 3 days. Let's do 100 big blind poker. Let's discuss our position is let's put us in the low jack seat. This is middle-ish position. Let's do the hijack seat, actually. Hijack seat. Hijack seat. This is what we quote-unquote should raise when they fold around to us, okay? As you can see, it's pretty tight. Something else you may notice here is that a lot of people don't play the King X suited, right? A lot of people do not actually play these King X suiteds in this scenario. Instead, they raise with a more logical/linear range, including the small pairs, which is not necessarily ideal. Bigger offsuit hands like Ace-9, Jack-10, also not ideal. And more suited connected hands, which is, could be fine. And it's important to realize that your opponents are not going to be playing fundamentally sound poker. I fully realize in lots of cash games, it goes limp before it gets to you, or raise, call. You have to realize this is a good thing. All of these players are playing ranges that are way too loose, way too splashy, and they are just torching money if you sit there and play good, fundamentally sound poker. Okay? Also, you can adjust. You're allowed to take advantage of what they do incorrectly. If they're calling the raises with Queen-9 offsuit, just raise good hands and crush them, right? Just play better cards than them. It is worth noting, if you're looking at this open raising chart in the hijack, in cash games 100 big blinds deep, I would, in most cash games, raise all pairs, just because people stack off poorly post-flop, so if you make a set, you're pretty happy. I would also raise the suited connected type hands. I think those are very good. I would not be raising Queen-10 offsuit or Jack-10 offsuit. I'd probably raise Queen-Jack and King-10, but not Ace-9, not 10-9, none of these hands. A big mistake a lot of people make is they raise Ace-9, King-9, Queen-9, Jack-10, Queen-10, really, even though I see it could be a raise, right? So this is probably an error to raise those in most games where people are playing loose, splashy ranges because you want to play hands that beat the loose, splashy ranges. And when you play Queen-10 and they're playing King-10, and when you play Jack-10, when they play Queen-Jack, it doesn't work so well for you, right? You're going to end up being dominated a lot. So I do think you can and should widen this range, but you can and should widen this range by adding more suited connected hands and more pairs. You want to be playing hands that make the nuts in multi-way pots, right? You always have to ask, what is likely to happen? And if you're likely to see a 6-way pot, play hands that make good hands in 6-way pots. If you told me you wanted to fold Queen-Jack offsuit and King-10 offsuit in the hijack seat, fine. I would not complain. It wouldn't be much tighter than that, though. What's the best way to randomize mixed frequencies? Roll a die, click a random number generator. That said, I don't think you need to be worrying so much about that. A lot of people worry about things that are... They add value, but they're not all that valuable, right? And the thing is whenever you're playing against people who are not good, strong, world-class players, you don't need to be worried about balance at all. If you play poker tournaments, balance should go out the window unless you're playing, again, at the highest stakes against the toughest players. A lot of people like to think that just doing this one extra thing will all of a sudden make me a winner. If I start raising this queen 10 offsuit 28% of the time and folding at 72, it's going to make me a winner. No. Hate to break it to you. If you played this queen 10 offsuit literally every time in this spot, probably not going to cost you all that much money. If you folded it every time in this spot, probably not going to cost you all that much money. Learn to play fundamentally sound, implementable strategies first. And I'm telling you, it's going to go a long way to just making your life a million times easier. For example, here we have raise first in, implementable strategies. In the hijack seat, let's just scroll down a little bit right here. You see, this is slightly looser, but roughly the same range. Again, I would be, wait, we're looking at hijack or low jack? Oh, we're going to hijack here? All right, well, a little bit tight, a little bit looser with this ace-x. I would not recommend the ace-x if people are going to be calling you a ton, right? Oh, these are 25 big blind charts. What am I doing? This is not what I need. Come on, I knew that wasn't right. Give me just a second. Actually, I don't need these for today. This is for something else. Ha! Okay, we'll just use these straight GTO charts. Get over the mixed frequencies. I'm telling you, it's not going to add much value to your strategy at all unless you're playing against the best players in the world on a very regular basis. You enjoying the cash game masterclass? Glad to hear it, George. Did I have anything to do with Faraz going to God's Big Toe and Crazy Sixes study stream? Well, I know and trust God's Big Toe and Crazy Sixes to run the study streams. They do great work. People take notice. They have a lot of guests on there. Make sure you check it out. I certainly asked them to do it, and they do it. And Faraz is a coach at pokercoaching.com, so there you go. We all work together to add lots and lots of value. Okay, so anyway, let's take a look at this. Let's say we do raise this range in the hijack. Then we can click right here. Let me show you how to use these charts if they're new to you. Click on versus raise. I'm sorry, not versus raise. Versus 3-bet from who? From the button. Let's say you raise the hijack and the button 3-bets you. In cash games, playing 100 big blinds deep. Okay, what should we do? The hands in red are re-raise small. The hands in green are call. Hands in red, or I'm sorry, hands in blue are folded. Y'all are gonna think I'm colorblind for just a second. So, as you see in this scenario, when you get 3-bet, even out of position, you're doing a lot of folding. Well, because you're out of position, you're doing a lot of folding. Notice, GTO, against a GTO 3-betting range, is to fold out. Hands like King, Queen offsuit, Ace, Jack offsuit, 9-8 suited, 10-8 suited, Jack 9 suited, Ace 8 suited, Ace 2 suited, right? You're actually doing a pretty large amount of folding here and not a whole lot of calling. And if you take a look at the hands that you are calling with, the hands in green, they all have very big implied odds. And you may not like this, but you should perhaps be even tighter in your cash games. Because if you raise with a fundamentally sound range like I just listed, or perhaps a little bit looser, and then someone who doesn't 3-bet very often, because I know good and well, because all of my students tell me, that at 1-2 and 1-3 and 2-5 no limit, people do not 3-bet anywhere near often enough. Your adjustment should be to play tighter. You should take away these 4-bet bluffs. Stop bluffing. Don't call with these hands that have poor post-flop playability, like ace-queen. It could just be a fold if they're not 3-betting all that wide, right? I mean, I'm not going to fold ace-queen in reality, but could be fine. Definitely don't call with king-jack offsuit like I see plenty of people do all the time. So you take away some of the re-raise bluffs, make your re-raise bluffing range just a little bit stronger. I'd probably just use ace-queen because ace-queen has the best blockers. Not so concerned with playability. If you 4-bet someone and they're going to stick around, usually they just put their money in. Although if they're going to do a lot of calling, you'd rather have a little bit of post-flop playability. But you're just re-raising with the best hands. Why is king-jack suited a 4-bet but king-queen suited a call? Because king-queen suited is better. You're going to find that you 4-bet with a very polarized range. You're 4-betting with your best hands, aces, kings, queens, some jacks, and ace-king. And then you're also 4-betting with some bluffs, quote-unquote bluffs, that are at the bottom of your playable range. King-queen, ace-queen offsuit is 4-betting and then folding if you get shoved. Here, I can show you on the chart. If they 5-bet you all in, you see, you fold the ace-queen to a shove, right? You're folding all the hands besides aces, kings, queens, and jacks, right? And tens if you have it, but you don't really have tens all that often. So you see in this scenario, you're 4-betting these hands that are not quite good enough to call some portion of the time. I realize king jack suited seems to be 4-betting a lot compared to king 10 suited. Why? I don't know. GTO reasons. GTO is a little bit funny. I mean, really the answer is blockers is what it amounts to. King jack suited blocks more strong hands than king 10 suited, right? That said, you can still call a king 10 suited because it plays well enough post flop. You're up $3,500 playing 2-5 no limit recently. Good job, Brian. Get in there, crush him. But you see, what I want to show you here though is that there's a whole lot of folding going on. Let's take a look at what button should be doing. Button versus raise from, where did I have this? Hijack. Take a look at what the button should be doing. This is when hijack raises, folds around with the button. This is what you should be doing on the button. Does the button actually do this in your games? Take a second, look at this range, and be honest and realistic. Not many people are watching on Twitch. That's because they all know to go to youtube.com/pokercoaching. There, you should hopefully not have ads. Are you all seeing ads on my channel? You should not be. Amazon said, or YouTube said they may turn on ads if you don't have them on voluntarily. I don't like ads. I'd much rather just tell you about poker coaching and show it off than try to advertise toothpaste and bubble gum to all of you. So that's a big benefit to using YouTube. Also, YouTube has really concise content, whereas Twitch is kind of all over the place. It's hit or miss to some extent. Not that there's anything wrong with Twitch. I like Twitch. I streamed for a long time. But if you want good, concise content, I would definitely recommend watching on YouTube instead. And I purposely have ads turned off because I don't want to waste any of your time. All right, so take a look at this. Do you think your opponents in your games are actually re-raising ace-7 suited, king-9 suited, queen-9 suited, king-5 suited, ace-jack offsuit, 10-9 suited, pocket sixes? Do you think they're really doing this any real portion of the time? I would venture to say that most people in small stakes live games don't re-raise very many of these bluffs. They may re-raise a slightly more linear range. They may re-raise like ace-jack suited and all ace queens and jacks and 10s and 9s every time. But they're not re-raising, at least in my experience, they're not re-raising the weakish type hands, right? Most people just don't do that. I mean, at the high stakes they do. At the high stakes they literally know what the chart looks like and they do it, right? But I don't think you're seeing this in small and medium stakes games. So if you're not seeing that, if they're not bluffing as often as they should be, they call all these hands instead. Say they call all of these hands, and they perhaps even call wider, or like jack-9 suited, 10-8 suited, whatever. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Say they do call wider. What does that do to their 3-betting range, though? That's what you really want to be concerned with. What does that do when they 3-bet you? Right? Take a look at this. If they don't... Does this take you to the right channel? It does. Okay, good. If they don't 3-bet you often enough, what should that do to your range? Or if you're you just better strong hands like 10s and 9s and ace queen, what does that do to your range here? Well, you should probably call with all these hands that are still calls because these are just good, strong implied odds hands, right? But you should not bluff as often, right? This is specifically for full ring. No, we're specifically discussing hijack against button right now. Hijack is roughly middle position full ring, second to act six-handed. This applies to six-handed, and you have to realize full ring and six-handed are not different. They're just, whenever you're playing full ring compared to, whenever you're playing six-handed compared to full ring, just presume the first 4 people folded, right? Obviously, the bunching effect is a thing. It's not all that relevant, though, especially in scenarios exactly like this. That's discussed in the book Modern Poker Theory by Michael Acevedo that I helped put together. But anyway, no, full ring and six-handed are really not that different. The difference is that players will play the various games differently. Usually six-handed players are better than full ring players for various reasons. Usually the fact that they just get to play more hands and they get to be in more spots, right? That just gives them much more experience. Because in full ring, you fold, 40% of the time or whatever it is, where in six-handed you just don't. You fold 40% of the time more, because you're in the early positions and you play tightly. What is our sizing? We're going 3. They're going about 9. We're going about 24, 23, something like that. Maybe 26, something like that. For full ring, take out MP1 and MP2. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Come here. Okay, since there's confusion about this, let me show you what you're looking at. Okay. Got to fix this problem because this is a big problem. Raise first end ranges. Here are all the seats we could be in, okay? If you're playing six-handed, we only have low jack, high jack, cutoff, button, small blind, and big blind. That is it. Under the gun and under the +1 don't exist. You don't take out low jack and high jack because if you did that, you would be playing this super nitty range under the gun six-handed, and that is wrong. That is very, very wrong. You should be playing this wider range. So you see low jack seat. You see low jack seat should be playing 16% of hands, whereas under the gun should be playing 11. If you remove low jack and hijack, or hijack and cutoff, or whatever, that will result in you playing way too tightly from early position, from the low jack seat, six-handed. You should be very, very specific and concise and accurate about words you use. You have to realize that whenever we're playing from the low jack, low jack is the low jack. That is why you call it low jack in 6-max. That's correct. It is not called under the gun. It's called low jack, right? What site is this? This is pokercoaching.com. In the tools section, if you go to the tools section, this is the GTO preflop charts. We have cash game charts, tournament charts, different stack depths, etc. Okay? Also, it's on your phone. We have an app. Check out the Poker Coaching app. You can get access to all this for free for 3 days at pokercoaching.com/freepass. I'm trying to backtrack here. You misspoke. Don't be misspeaking. Anyway. 8-handed, 9-handed, 6-handed, 11-handed, whatever. Realize, by the way, if you're playing with more players, I realize we only have 8 here. If you're playing even like earlier position, then you would just be tighter, a little bit tighter than under the gun, right? So if you were playing 11-handed at your casino for whatever reason, then you would just like play a little bit tighter than what's listed here. But again, it's negligible, right? You have to realize we made this into an app on the phone, so we had to make sure we had like concise information. We can't have just loads and loads of options because then you can't really use it on your phone. Okay. Doesn't matter what you play, they always get there on the river. Well, perhaps you're playing poorly. What a lot of people do wrong with their best hands is they play in a manner that lets their opponents get there. And if you are actually getting your opponent all in on the turn and they spike on you on the river every time, it implies you're just not playing very much volume because volume cures variance. If your opponent get it all in with 40% over and over and over again and you have 60%, you're going to win all the money. It's just a matter of you not crying, not complaining, putting in volume. Volume cures variance at the end of the day. Since these charts are GTO, do they ever change? Well, these charts presume your opponents play fundamentally sound poker, right? And I already discussed what I would do to adjust, right? That's what we were doing for the first 20 minutes of the show. We were discussing what we do in the hijack versus a 3-bet from the button, the adjustments we would make, right? That's literally what I sat here and did for the first, I don't know, maybe, okay, fine, not 20, 19 minutes of this, right? I discussed how you would bluff less often, perhaps call slightly tighter, although this is already a pretty tight range. The purpose of this was to show you should be calling 3-bets pretty tightly when you're out of position. Now, what if you're instead the small blind 3-bets you? You're going to realize now that you 4-bet less often. I went over here and clicked the, I'm going to show you. Doesn't quite fit in the screen. Did not design it to be streamed. Designed it to be used. Okay, so you raise hijack versus a 3-bet from the small blind, okay? 100 big blinds deep. Notice now, you do less 4-betting and more calling, right? And this presumes a 4x 3-bet size, which your opponents may not use. Quite often, you'll raise to, let's say, 3 big blinds. Someone will 3-bet to 9 big blinds from the small blind. If that's the case, then you should call even wider, right? Because you're going to be getting better odds. Notice, though, not much 4-betting at all. Why are we not 4-betting very much at all? Because we're in position, right? When you're in position, you get to call a whole lot more. Let me show you something else. If we were 200 big blinds deep, funny enough, now you do start 4-betting some because you can actually stick around. Well, let's see what you do versus 5-bet. You see now you can still splash quite often with these suited connected hands and whatnot if you are playing 200 big blinds deep. 100 big blinds deep, hijack versus 3-bet from small blind. Again, you see not a ton of re-raising and a lot of calling. 100 big blinds deep, not a ton of 3-betting, lots of calling, right? And you'll notice the hands that get called are implied odds hands, right? You want to be playing hands that can flop good post-flop playability because that lets you realize your equity substantially better. Okay? What if you're in late position and 2 people ahead of you raise and 3-bet? Well, then you play really tightly, Tony. Tighty, Tony. You play really, really tightly. Super tightly, actually. I'm trying to think, where was that chart I saw? Let's see if I can find this really quickly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Probably not. Here it is. Let's see. Please work. Please work. Okay. Is this working? I think this is working. Here's a chart. Just happen to have on hand. Don't ask me to pull up a bunch of random charts. I don't have them. Big blind versus cold 4-betting. Okay? So you asked, what happens if someone raises and someone 3-bets before you? Right? What happens if someone who raises and 3-bets before you? Right? Here's what you do. You have to play really, really tightly. This is from the big blind, okay? You see, from the low jack and hijack seat, I'm sorry, let's slow down. You're in the big blind facing a low jack raise and a hijack 3-bet. That is the dark red. You're just re-raising the best hands and getting them in. Cutoff versus button, so you're against 2 looser ranges. You 4-bet the hands in red, right? Ace, queen's a bluff. These are all bluffs down here. You're bluffing, you're re-raising and folding. Button versus small blind, if you're in the big blind, you 4-bet all of the hands that are selected in this chart. But you see, it's literally 9s are better and the best hands, right? Whereas if you're facing like early position raise and a call, then, or early position raise and a 3-bet, you should be even tighter than that. People who play by the book are the easiest to beat. Yeah, I agree. You already know what you're doing in every situation. Don't listen to this fool. I agree. Don't listen to Forrest. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Listen, it's important to realize that if you play by the book, first off, a lot of people don't even know what by the book means. They think by the book means the book that was written in 1972. Yeah, if you play a book, by a book that was written in 1972, you probably read a tournament book and you're going to use it in cash games because, clearly you haven't studied all that much. If that's what you're going to do, you should expect to fail. As you can see here, I'm sitting here literally telling you, adjust away from the GTO charts. A lot of people like to try to find someone to blame for their poor luck. You can try to blame me if you like. It's not my fault if you're losing at poker. You need to get in there and you need to study, apply yourself, and actually listen a little bit, right? The whole purpose of this show is to tell you, don't follow the GTO charts. Use them as a reference, use them as a starting point. But if you sit here and try to blindly follow this chart against people who are not playing anywhere near GTO, you're going to lose. Or at least not do very well. Not nearly as well as you can. Cherishable girl came to blame me. There you go. Hello, welcome. Good morning. Hope you're having a great day. Depends on if the book tells you to play a balanced range. Kappa. I think David Peters will go down as one of the greatest players of all time. Well, everyone thinks he's world class already. So Rick's asking about why does GTO do some random stuff like pocket 7's folding here to the 3-bet, pocket 2's calling every time, whereas 3's is folding, etc., etc. It's a little convoluted. It has to do with blockers, what the opponent is 3-betting. Let's see if we can figure it out. Let's see. We want to look at small blind. Why are we not calling 7's? Let's investigate this. 7's versus small blind versus raise from hijack. Notice here, for whatever reason, the GTO solver likes to re-raise more with 7's than 6's and 8's. So when you get re-raised, perhaps your 7 is slightly more blocked, right? I don't know. GTO does some weird stuff. Probably has to do with post-flop playability, etc., etc. I mean, again, when you look at the charts, this is what I'm trying to tell all of you. Don't be really, really anal about, oh my God, it says I should fold this one, but call this one. It's it just doesn't matter. Like I said, if you told me you called the 7's every time instead of calling it 70%, I don't think it's a big deal. You probably should, right? Okay. What are things you consider before entering a hand? Is it on this chart? Well, clearly stack depth and effective stack depth is very relevant. Position is very relevant. I mean, look at these things that we are asking from a straight GTO point of view. What matters? Your stack depth matters. Your position matters. What's happened before you matters. And what's likely to happen after you matters, right? Then you look at your cards. That said, anyone who's asking, check out pokercoaching.com/free pass. You have full access to Poker Coaching Premium. Everything I literally have to offer for the next 3 days. Just for being here as a thank you. No credit card required, none of that. You do have to enter an email address. Some people say it's not free, you get my email address. All right, well, guess it's not free then, is it? That said, pokercoaching.com/free pass, 3 days just for you. Let's go over here and take a look at what happens when we raise early position and an early position player 3 bets. You're going to be disappointed. All right, let's take a look at this. So here, we raise under the gun 8-handed, and then another early position player, under the gun +1, 3 bets us. Look what we're supposed to do now. Fold almost everything. What a bummer. What a bummer. You see here, you should 4-bet the best hands. Getting in. Well, I presume we're getting in. Let's actually see. Ace-King folds. I figured it would be something funny like that. So here, let me show you this. If you 4-bet these hands in red, aces, kings, queens, jacks, nines, ace-king, king-jack suited, all these are obviously bluffs. What do we fold when they jam? We fold out ace-king offsuit when they jam. Listen, am I really doing this in reality? No. I'm going to call that ace-king before I 4-bet folded. I can guarantee you that. But why? Why are we doing this? Well, let's take a look at this. Under the gun +1 versus raise from under the gun. Look at what they should be doing, right? Again, almost no one actually does this. Most of your opponents are not going to be taking all these ace-x and king-x blockers and 3-betting them. A lot of your opponents are just going to go call, right? So think about this. If your opponents are just calling your early position raise instead of 3-betting with all of this blocker junk, what does their 3-betting range actually look like? I can tell you. It's going to be literally aces, kings, queens, and then maybe a few slightly weaker hands like ace, queen, pocket jacks, pocket tens. So if we go back to under the gun versus 3-bet from under the gun +1, you see here, you would just not bluff because they're not folding. I mean, maybe there's a world where they like 4-bet and just, or 3-bet and then just call with hands like ace king or pocket queens, but like there's no reason to bluff in this scenario because if they just get anything after the flop, they're not folding, right? So, should you even call? Ace-Jack suited, Ace-10 suited, 10-9 suited, and 8-7 suited. The pairs you should definitely call, by the way, because there you're putting in 6 big blinds or 7 big blinds, whatever it is, depending on their 3-bet size, to try to make a set. And if you get a set, you can be very happy, right? But I think, in this scenario, you're not quite getting the right implied odds with the suited aces or with the suited connectors. So if you told me you just wanted to fold all this stuff, I would be okay with it. It's supposed to fold a lot. When you raise and get 3-bet from an early position player, you should be folding a lot. Again, notice in this scenario we're out of position, right? Even against low jack seat, still just folding a lot. You may ask, why are we calling 8-7 suited if we're not quite getting like 20-1 implied odds? It's because they are going to have ace-king a lot, and they're going to have the random blockers a lot, right? If we go over here and look at low jack versus raise from under the gun, what should they be doing? You see they don't do a ton of calling, but when they do 3-bet, they're 3-betting a lot of ace-x and king-x blockers. So like 8-7 suited actually does okay against this, right? Because like while they do have aces and kings, they're not 3-betting a lot of their pairs at this point. And for that reason, yeah, they have aces and kings, but they also have a lot of unpaired stuff. So you're not really playing like purely to try to make a straight or a flush. You're playing like make a pair and hang on for dear life. You ran into 2 maniacs. It was very tough to win a pot without going all in with 1 pair hands. Yeah, Marcus, that's a great spot to be in. Imagine your opponents are going all in with 20% equity over and over and over again. 2 people have 20% and you have 60, or 2 people have 25% or even 30% and you have 40. Woo, you're going to print the money. Against maniacs, don't fold. I'm glad you found such a soft table. TJ says, 2K big blind. Middle position goes all in for 8 big blinds. Cutoff calls it off for 8 big blinds. Lag puts you all in for 35. 18 big blinds. 17 big blinds. What do you do? Nines. Yeah, call it off. Nines is great. Nines is great. Nines are great. Nines are great. Sean Deep's enjoying the show. Glad to hear it. Andrew's enjoying the show. Good, good, good. I'm glad you're all here. Glad you're having a good time. If you're enjoying this, click the like button. I agree. I agree. If you enjoy this show, click the like button. Let's go back to this chart real quick. This, by the way, big blind cold 4-betting is the loosest you should be if your opponents are both like reasonable, right? So if low jack and hijack, middle position raises, another person 3-bets, and you're in the big blind, the GTO strategy is to get in with literally jacks and better and ace queen suited and ace king. That's it. That's it. What if they're tighter though? What if they're a little bit tighter than most people? Because like I said, this chart here presumes, let's just take a look at the hijack 3-betting strategy versus raise from low jack. Is your opponent really re-raising all this stuff? This super nitty chart here presumes they are playing this strategy. Most people are not. Okay? So, if most people are not, then you should be playing even tighter than this, right? Or say under the gun and under the gun +1 raises and re-raises. You should be playing tighter than these dark red hands. So that kind of implies literally aces, kings, queens, and ace king. That's it. That is it. A lot of people don't like that, but that is very often the right play. I learned this a long time ago when I was playing poker tournaments, where I'd be like, I don't know, 80 big blinds deep or something. Someone would raise, someone would 3-bet. I'd be sitting there with jacks or ace queen. And me, young dumb kid, re-raise, call it off, got the nuts. Oh, you have aces. Oh, you have aces. Oh, you have kings. Oh, you were bluffing with only ace king. You got to fold in this scenario. And, straight GTO math confirms, right? Shout out to Justin Saliba. Yeah, just GTO, poker coaching. Coach, content creator extraordinaire. Won the $5,000 buy-in World Series of Poker Online event. $250,000 to go with it. Good job, good work. Good job, good work. Poker coaching is the best training site on the market. Well, that's what we're trying to do. Louis Philippe's in there, grinding hard, working every day. Good job, good work, man. Let's see. Up to what big blind stack size would you be happy getting all in with ace-king preflop? It depends on the scenario, right, Tony? I just showed you. Literally, just showed you. Ace-king offsuit versus a 3-bet from under the gun +1. So if you raise early position, and then under the gun +1 re-raises you, and you decide to 4-bet them, and then they go all in, you should fold. Should. Ace-king suited, you still call it off, though. So here we're talking 100 big blinds, right? Well, actually, what happens if we make this into a 200 big blind chart? It won't be 5-bet all in, it'll be 5-bet small. Notice, 200 big blinds deep. You should be 6-betting all in with ace-king suited. You raise under the gun +1 3-bets, you 4-bet, they 5-bet, you 6-bet all in ace-king suited. Why? The best blockers, etc., etc. Okay, that's not what we're really talking about, though. So let's talk about a real scenario. Are we ever folding ace-king if we raise from, like, middle position and, I don't know, button 3-bets us? Folding kings? You don't block the aces, right? You got to be really nitty when your opponent wants to get all in for 200 big blinds. So here we are, 4-betting ace-king. What do we do against 5-bet all in? We're going to call it off here, right? Okay, so here's a more normal scenario. Low jack, we raise low jack, button 3-bets, we 4-bet, they shove, we call it off, 100 big blinds deep. No problem. I completely agree. What if they're in slightly earlier position, like cutoff? Now, we're supposed to fold it out some portion of the time. Right? What if they're in hijack C? We should be folding out. Actually, funny enough, we call it off against hijack C. Ranges are funny, I'm telling you. It's because we don't have any ace-queen offsuits to fold out, right? Notice in this scenario, low jack against cutoff, we apparently put in the 4-bet with ace-queen sometimes. But against hijack, we apparently don't. Therefore, we don't have hands to fold. I don't know. It's funny the way GTO works. Anyway, I'm not folding the ace-king is what it amounts to. Let's look at a cutoff versus a 3-bet from button. Again, you're just like never going to fold ace-king here. Never in a million years, right? Versus a 5-bet all in, you're not folding. What about against small blind all in? Don't even have ace king for some reason. Guess he flat it. In this scenario, call it off, right? So the answer is we're not really trying to fold the ace king unless you're in some abnormal scenario. Have I seen any of the Texas streams? I have. It is the Wild West of poker. Yeah, 200 big blinds deep goes to Vioto. Weird stuff starts happening 200 big blinds deep. That's not really the discussion of today, but implied odds hands go way up in value, and hands that lack implied odds start to go a bit down in value. Is this tournament or cash game strategy? These charts are for cash games, but the exact same things would apply if we were looking in tournaments right here. We have literally a clone of the site, except for with different ranges, different stack depths. As you see here, we have tournament GTO preflop charts, right? They're going to be slightly wider. Why are they wider? Because there's an ante in play, right? So let's just take a look at versus under the gun versus 5-bet all in from under the gun +1 in a tournament. You got to call it off. Why? We're a little bit shorter, right? So you asked again, are we ever folding ace king? Well, in a tournament, if we raise under the gun +1 re-raises, we 3-bet, they jam, we're calling it off with ace king offsuit. So if we're doing that with the tightest range against their tightest possible range, because under the gun against under the gun +1, you obviously aren't folding. We see this exercise is exactly the same, right? But you'll see, if we look at raise first in ranges, under the gun in a tournament gets to play 16% of hands because of the ante, right? Whereas under the gun in a cash game gets to play a lot tighter. 11 we decided, right? 11. So you get to play literally 5% more hands. It's a big increase. Big increase because you're playing with an ante in play. It's very important to recognize the differences in the structure of the game, right? That said, the same logic all still applies here. Just range is a little bit wider, therefore you're getting it in a little bit wider. Sam says you study with deep stack strategy. Check out the Cash Game Masterclass. What about live tells? Check out the Cash Game Masterclass. Check out the Tournament Masterclass. We have a lot of advice there on playing and dealing with tells. Isn't it more to do with the rake? Twisting Echo, that is true too. The fact that in a tournament, they don't take rake out of the pot, and there's an ante in the pot, right? I mentioned the ante primarily. I mean, I should have mentioned both, you're right. But I mentioned the ante because if you think about a raise and a call and the ante in the pot would be 7.5 big blinds. In a cash game, though, it would be 6.5, and then if they rake out, what? Half a big blind? So now you're looking at 6, so it's like a minimal increase, whereas the ante is 1 big blind more. What bet sizings do these charts use? 3 big blinds for tournaments. All this is listed on the site. Go to pokercoaching.com. Check out the tools section. You can actually get access to these for free on the computer, on your phone, on your app, right? Make sure you download the Poker Coaching app. It's free to use for the next 3 days. Check out pokercoaching.com/free pass. Actually, I think you get it for the next week, but 3-day period. You get to pick the 3 days you use it. You might as well get in there and start studying. Oh, dang, Knit City. Yes, Knit City. Most people are not nitty in cash games. And you know what happens because they're not nitty? They lose. They lose. Most players are losers at poker because, let me show you what happens. Let's say they're in the cutoff seat versus a raise from somebody from earlier position. Under the gun +1. This is what you are supposed to do. Okay? You see this chart? Supposed to fold 90% of the time. You think anyone is folding suited connectors, suited aces, king jack offsuit, ace 10 offsuit? No, no one does, and that's why they all lose and they're all stuck in the small stakes games. They lack the discipline required to do the play that makes the most money. They want to gamble. And what happens is they see all these other people playing like this in the small stakes games, and they decide, oh, that's probably good. That's what my opponents are doing. But you got to realize, this is something a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their brain around. It's that if you are playing the small stakes games, ask yourself why you have not moved up. And almost always, the answer is, I don't have the right bankroll. Certainly there are some people out there who maybe they actually think I just want to play for small money. But most people who are here want to succeed at poker and get a whole lot of money from playing poker, right? I know I certainly did, right? So, why, if you're not winning, you always want to ask yourself, why am I not winning? Because you're playing poorly, right? So stop playing poorly. It really does just take the discipline to do it. I'm telling you, the charts are literally right here. And we already discussed earlier in the show how to adjust this strategy. For example, if under the gun +1 raises and I'm in the cutoff, What would I do differently from this chart? I would call more suited connectors, and I would call all the pairs, right? Would I call the king, queen, and the ace, jack? If the game rakes a lot, like they do, no, I would not call the king, queen, and the ace, jack, right? So anyway, it's important to realize that you should not model your game after your opponent's strategies, because most of your opponents, even the good ones in your game, are in the same boat as you where they are studying, they're working hard, but for some reason they are not moving up. So if anything, you should look at their game and try to figure out what's wrong with their strategy. Why are the good players in your game, assuming you're playing small stakes, why are they playing these games, right? Because they're not winning at a rate fast enough to move up. To be fair, maybe they have some life leak or something. Maybe they actually just don't want to play for real money, substantial money. Whatever. You want to make sure you're modeling your strategy after the winners in the high stakes games. Because realize, in the high stakes games, there are bad players in those games too. And you'll find that most of the best players play a generally tight, aggressive-ish strategy. Kind of like this, right? What's the best introduction course? Check out pokercoaching.com/fundamentals. It's completely free. After that, check out the Tournament Masterclass or Cash Game Masterclass, depending on which game you want to play. It's tough, because I realize a lot of people are going to watch this and think, okay, I need to play a little bit tighter. And then you're going to go in there and you're just going to play the same hands. How do you break the habit of doing what everybody else does and splashing around? Some people may think, oh, if I don't play any hands, they won't give me action. You got to realize, first things first, you're 3-bet bluffing here with the king 6 suited and the king 7 suited and the king 9 suited and the ace 5 suited, right? Like, if you're actually 3-bet bluffing with these hands, then you're playing some hands. They will give you action. You're just not doing a whole lot of loose, splashy calling. And to be fair, like I said here, you see you're supposed to be calling 5-ish% of the time. I'd probably bump that up to like 10. So I would be calling wider with suited connectors, small pairs, etc. But I'm not playing the ace-8 offsuit or the 10-6 suited or the jack-7 suited or the king-2 suited ever. And a lot of people do. They want to see the flop. They came to gamble. You have to realize if you came to gamble, you probably didn't come to win. And I want all of you to win. So anyway, I can't do anything more than literally give you these charts on your phone for free. Check it out, pokercoaching.com/free pass. Use them. Reference them. It may be against your casino to use them at the table. I'm not sure. Don't break the rules. I don't know. You have any other questions? We're going to pack it up soon. Study session's happening right after this, I think. Louis Philippe runs that. Andrew will be there. It'll be great. Check it out. That is in the Discord. Poker Coaching Discord. You can find that in the community tab right here on Poker Coaching. Just click on community, go down here. Where's the Discord? Please be here. Join the Discord, right? Also, consider applying for backing. We're going to be giving away some tournament seats probably in the near future. Make sure you get in there. Make good use of that. Are satellites worth it? What does worth it mean? What does worth it mean? Let's see if I can find this article. Let's see if I can find this article. It's a good question to wrap it up today. Here we go. Why I tell my students not to play poker satellites. How about that? While many amateurs think they should strive to satellite into major events, I think it is a horrible idea. And the answer is, I would actually, if I was rewriting this today, I would say it is a horrible idea. I don't think it is. Assuming your goal is to constantly improve your poker skills and eventually grow your bankroll such that you do not have to rely on satellites to play large events. Right? First things first, satellite players naturally play tight on the bubble. A lot of them do not adjust properly. Maybe you're capable of adjusting properly. Most satellite players who play a lot of satellites do not adjust properly to the bubble because they care about getting the money way too much. Also in satellites, your return on investment is capped. You can only win whatever a seed is, right? That's actually a problem. You make a lot of your money deep in tournaments by winning the tournament, right? Andrew says the new poker coaching patches with the new logo are available. There you go. Also, whenever you're playing a satellite, let's say you cash the satellite 1 in 8 times and you cash the main tournament 1 in 8 times, you're 1 in 64 to get a cash, a real cash. And even then, it's going to be a minimum cash a lot of the time. 1 in 64 is awful when in terms of variance, dealing with variance. You think regular poker tournaments are tough where you cash 1 in 8. Try satellites where you cash 1 in 64. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Are the preflop charts downloadable? These charts are not downloadable, but they are available on your phone in the poker coaching app. This is more of a program than a... I guess in theory we could download the program. But these are available in the poker coaching app. And we also have downloadable charts that are just like more static charts. Here, I'll show you. If you click right here, we can go to downloadable preflop charts. These are more like what you see on a lot of other poker sites where we have, let's see, 6 max GTO preflop charts. Here are just like downloadable charts that are implementable strategies, not mixed strategies, right? A little bit easier to use, I think, but this is a little bit more accurate. In lower stakes games, when opponents tend to call too often preflops, we'll be adjusting the 3-betting to be more linear. Yes, J-Poker, you must have showed up late. We discussed that earlier. Should be lowering or increasing the frequency. Frequency should probably be about the same, but you should be more linear like we discussed. You should be calling a little bit less often as well. Mystery gift subscribe. Sweet. Thank you, Dane. Did Dane give it? I don't know who gave it. What capital should you start if you want to play 1-2? Check out pokercoaching.com/bankroll. Who plays 9-handed? Almost everyone in casinos. Most casinos only fit 10 people at a table at most. And usually 1 or 2 people aren't going to be there. So you're effectively playing 8-handed. And then if you think about most 6-handed tables online, same thing as 8-handed, just minus the first 2 seats, right? 8-handed is very, very nice and very, very applicable because it's really easy to take these charts and apply them to whatever scenario you're in. For example, let's say you are playing 6-handed. Remove the first 2 seats, right? Just remove the first 2 seats and then these charts apply perfectly to 6-handed. If you're playing 9-handed or 10-handed, like I said, check out Under the Gun and just be a little bit tighter than this and you'll be fine, right? You want to talk about early position opening ranges for cash games. All the charts show 9-8 suited or better. Not sure what you mean here. Not sure what you mean. 9-8 suited is a clear fold. So I'm not sure. I still look call. Whenever you say stuff like this, it makes me not take the question seriously. Because either you have not looked directly at this chart that I've been showing you the whole video. I don't really understand, right? If your question just has blatantly wrong information in it, I can't really help you. Chart clearly shows 9-8 suited is a fold. That said, I think raising 9-8 suited is fine. Like I said, exploitatively, 10-9 suited, 9-8 suited, 8-7 suited, all the pairs, really. If you wanted to raise them, I don't think it's that big of a deal in small stakes games where you're not going to get 3-bet. It's important to realize you should just not... You want to be raising wider when you're not going to get 3-bet as often, right? So if you go through and look at the ranges, if your opponents don't 3-bet as often as these charts dictate, as they usually won't, you get to open raise wider. The charts don't, the bankroll page doesn't work. Oh no. Let's see. pokercoaching.com/bankroll. Please work. Okay, good. It does work. There you go. pokercoaching.com/bankroll. There you go. Is there a poker coaching book? Check out. Where is it? Hello, children. This is the book you need. Mastering Small Stakes No Limit Hold'em. This is the guide to get you up to speed on crushing poker. Is this the poker coaching book? Well, big book of hand range analysis, learning to play implementable, fundamentally sound strategies. If you want us to play specifically tournaments, this book just came out. Similar to the other book, but geared exactly towards tournaments. Secrets of Professional Tournament Poker, the essential guide. I'm trying to think of what the URL is. Let's go to dnbpoker.com, it'll come up. Okay. Are you planning on releasing any sit and go content? I will say no. Why not? Why is that page not working for all of you? It worked for me. It literally just worked for me. Look, I'm showing you. Literally just worked for me. Let's see. Let's try jlpoker.com/bankroll. Maybe that'll work for now. Yeah, try this site. Same site, same thing, different site. Maybe it'll work. Actually, it just took me to the same page. It redirected. I don't know. If it's not working, give it a little while. Maybe clear your cookies or something? Is behind a sign in. I don't know. Okay, well, whatever. I'll talk to the team. I will talk to the team and we'll get it fixed. We will talk to the team and get it fixed. Who do I need to talk to about that? Okay. Shout out to Ken, who won the $14 tournament for $2,600. Nice job, good work. Do you think poker will ever be legal in New York City? Sure. I think most things tend to get legal before they get illegal. Just takes time. If you want a simple answer, how much money do you need to play 1-2 no limit? Hate to break it to you. There's not a simple answer. It's not a simple answer, everyone. Why? Because you need to know your win rate. What is your win rate? If you haven't played, you don't know. If you don't know what your win rate is, you can't calculate how much of a bankroll you need. Simple as that. How comfortable are you losing all of the money? How willing are you to move down? How aggressively do you plan on moving up? Why is poker coaching cash? Oh my God. You guys are freaking me out on everything today as if my programs are broken. Let's see. GTO preflop, cash game charts. Please have 100. It starts at 100 big blinds. It's literally right there. You see? You can't see. It starts on 100 big blinds. 100, 150, and 200. I'm looking right at it. If someone knows their win rate, they should never ask how much of a bankroll they need. That's correct. You usually figure that out. So this question is likely presented by someone who has not really played much or has played minimally and doesn't know what they win at. If you're a losing player, as most people are, no amount of bankroll will save you. You will lose money indefinitely. Sad reality or happy reality, depending on what side of the equation you're on. And you have to, first things first, why hop into 1-2? Why not play smaller? I would definitely recommend to everyone, if you're not already winning at 1-2 live, play tiny stakes online to get a lot of experience. Even if you put, let's say, $50 online and play 1 cent, 2 cent with a $2 buy-in, it is well worth it. It is well worth it to torch that $50 to have 25 buy-ins worth of experience before you go play 1-2 live for substantial money. You got to realize even 1-2 no limit live is decent money, right? I mean, you can easily win or lose a few $100 in a day, $1,000 in a day if you try hard enough. And you want to make sure that you are not torching your money. I don't want any of you to go out there and just start gambling and play. And you have to realize, if you ask me the question, how much of a bankroll do you need to play 1-2, it kind of implies you have not studied the math whatsoever. It kind of implies you don't know your win rate, right? Should your bankroll vary on stack size and how soft the table is? A little. Well, so how soft the table is impacts your win rate, right? As the game is softer and softer, your required bankroll goes down and lower because you're just not going to lose all that often, right? Someone asked earlier, I didn't answer the question because it was irrelevant then, but it was something to the effect, if I play in soft games, should I be winning most of the time? And the answer is no, not necessarily. Small sample size. Do you believe in stupid questions? Yeah. That said, most people who ask questions here are not coming from a point of asking a stupid question. They are asking because they don't know, right? It's important to realize that people find information at various points of their life. And if you're totally new at poker, that could be a realistic question, which is why I didn't say, I mean, maybe I was a little harsh with the how much money you need for 1-2 no limit question, but the answer is it depends, right? Then I tried to send you a link that didn't work, so that's my bad. I don't know why it's not working. It's working for me. It's so bizarre. Leo says, use the charts daily. Good. Yeah, Lane Flack passed away. I don't know anything about how that happened, but I've only had good interactions with Lane. Only great interactions. All right, I have to go now. Louis Philippe says, good advice. Get a few $100,000 hands online at small stakes, and that will make you work a bit on your game. Yeah, make sure you get in the Discord. Louis Philippe runs great study groups, study sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right around 10 a.m. Eastern time, I think. Maybe 9 a.m. sometimes. I'm not sure. Get in the Discord, check it out, and improve your skills. I'm giving away 3 free days of Poker Coaching Premium to everyone. Don't know what more you want from me. We try to make our training site have more content, more high-level content. Also, be cheaper, sometimes stone-free, than, well, everything else, right? I realize there's a lot of information you could be consuming. So, try Poker Coaching and see if it helps you. How do you figure out your win rate? How do you figure it out? So you take the amount of money you won and divide it by the number of, I guess if you're playing live, like the hours you play to some extent. Ideally, you kind of want to get a number per 100 hands. That's usually the metric people use. You play like 33 hands per hour, give or take. So you take how much you won, divide it by how many hours you've played. That would give you your hourly rate. Multiply that by 3. That'll give you your per 100 rate. Where's the Discord? In the community section of pokercoaching.com. Go to pokercoaching.com, sign up, click on community. I have to get going now. Hope all of you have a great, great day. Make the most of your opportunities. If you go and play poker this week, don't be super loose and splashy. It's not going to work out. Especially in small stakes games, you're just going to pay rake over and over and over. And the rake is the reason why basically everyone in small stakes loses. Good luck. Have fun. Make the most of your opportunities. If you like this show, click like, click subscribe. I would appreciate it. Also, check out youtube.com/pokercoaching. We have all sorts of videos there. I recently made a state of poker video. Just sat down and talked to the camera for 30 minutes or so. Seems like you all enjoyed that. Maybe we'll do more of that kind of thing. You made the final 3. Opponents offer to take a deal. Offer to make a deal with you taking a slight bit more, but down on first place. Well, realize, Simon, you don't win first place all that often. Search the article, Let's Not Make a Deal. Type Jonathan Little, Let's Not Make a Deal into Google. It'll probably come right up. Goodbye, good luck, have fun.